Welcome back to another video on the channel. I'm delighted to be joined on the channel for a second time by Ryan Peniston. Just a little bit of information about Ryan. He competed at US college tennis in Memphis starting in 2014 before having his full year as a pro in 2019. Last year he played a lot of the Battle of the Brits event and probably done a lot of homework outside everybody else. So welcome back to the channel, Ryan. Thanks a lot for joining me again. How is life in the South?
Cheers. Thanks for having me on again. Yeah, it's going all right. Not too bad. Just doing some training at the moment, so pretty lucky. But yeah, there's a lot of bad stuff going on, around the world. So I can't really complain right now.
Yeah, it was March for me doing the last interview, so hopefully I wasn't a jinx. I did realise that I looked. But how have you found training during the lockdowns? I know I've spoken to a lot of different players that sort of said they enjoyed initially, having a break from the sport and spending a lot of time with family. How have you found it? I know we're in our third one now, so it's probably more frustration than anything, but how have you found training during lockdowns and just mentally?
Yeah, I mean, the first lockdown, I think like all the other tennis players, I think it was quite kind of a nice break, if, you can say that, it's pretty bad, but we had first 2 weeks was kind of nice, but after that I think we're all kind of itching to play. So, and then when the like all the clubs and centers kind of got shut, it became pretty clear to everyone that they had to find some way of training. So I had a wall. I've got a wall on the back of my house. I kind of just hit some volleys against. And then we have my local park is just like a stone's throw away. So we just went over there, and they had some tarmac courts, but they had they had tennis courts on there, just the lines, but no nets. So me and my dad kind of went over there, and we took 2 massive twigs and put them on each side and put a bit of rope over it and made our own court. And we did that for quite a while. I think it was probably about maybe close to a month. We did that for, and then luckily the weather was all right, so we were fine. But then a few of the clubs started opening up again, and was able to train, so it was all right.
Yeah, you've got to use what you've got in this day and age, I think. Yeah. Moving on to better times, you competed in the Battle of the Brits event that Andy Murray and Jamie Murray organised last summer. How was that to be around and competing against some of Britain's top players?
It was amazing, really amazing opportunity. I'm really grateful that I got to be a part of that, and that they, organised everything. They did an amazing job. But yeah, just to be around, the top guys and train with them and play against them, it was a cool experience for sure.
Yeah, I've spoken to a few players that competed, and everyone's only had positive things to say about us. And I think it certainly gave players like yourself exposure. Being on BBC as well, the lineup was very strong with Andy Murray and Jamie Murray and Heather Watson, Joe Conter. Would you like to see an all-British event become a regular thing?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love it. I know that everyone who was involved in it was definitely keen to do it again. I think, if the situation is similar, then I think something like that would probably happen. But it's just when things kind of go back to normal and everyone's schedules are kind of set, then that could be the only difficult thing, I think.
Yeah, just talking about a couple of specific matches in the Battle of the Brits that you competed in. Obviously, you went to match-aside and tie-breaks against Kyle Edmund and Cam Norrie, playing fantastically well in both of those matches. When you consider them two are both ranked well inside the top 100, going toe-to-toe with those sort of players, does that give you confidence now moving on in your pro career?
Yeah, 100%. It's kind of, well, I only played maybe 2, I think, top 100 guys before that. So, yeah, to play them and, come up with a decent performance was pretty good for me.
So shortly after that, you reached the British Tour final after coming from a set down against Daniel Cox in the semis. After that win, you gave a lot of credit to your coach, Rob Carter. What have you been working on together as a team to improve as an overall player, do you think?
Yeah, Rob, I mean, he helped me a lot, kind of during that summer period last year. My dad obviously did a lot with me too. So yeah, they've been helping me throughout the whole kind of lockdown thing, and they've been doing great job keeping me working hard and stuff, and working on specific things I need to reach the next level. So it's been good.
Yeah, just finally on those British summer events, obviously it was a very difficult time last year for all tennis players, and although no ranking points were involved, it must have been great to just play a lot of matches competitively. I think there was a great competitive streak at all the British summer events, so it was great to just play a lot and keep testing yourself and increasing that court time all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I was super grateful again. Like, I mean, to everyone who organised those kind of tournaments, it must have been super difficult, with what was going on, with all the safety precautions they had to put in place and everything. But I know, a lot of tennis players all over the world that didn't really have a chance to play, competitive stuff. So yeah, we're pretty lucky in England.
Yeah, talking of competitive tennis, I think out of all the players I've interviewed post-COVID, you've probably played the most competitive tennis in 2020. I know you competed in Portugal in September and Greece in November. How was it to travel during that time, and were the tournaments a lot different?
I mean, obviously, yeah, it was nice to get back on the road again. It was kind of, I was a bit anxious about traveling again because I hadn't done it for so long, but yeah, it felt great to get out there and get on the tour and playing competitive matches again. And yeah, the tournaments went quite well, so I was pretty happy with that too.
Yeah, I was going to mention you've had some really good results at the back in 2020. You reached 4 semi-finals of main draws. Were you happy with your performances considering the up and down 2020?
Yeah, I was pretty happy. I was pretty happy just to get out there and grab a few points. The ones I could, and would definitely have liked to have won a tournament out there. But I was putting in some decent performances.
Yeah, just moving back to your trainer for a minute. Are you a player that makes notes after each match and talks about what went well, what didn't, how you can improve, or is your training very training specific and targeted towards your overall development?
I think it's a good mix of both, to be honest. I didn't used to, but I think the last 2 years I've started like taking notes writing down notes after each match, things that I thought I did well, things I thought I could improve on. And then kind of you just bring that into practice sessions. You don't do loads on it, but you just touch on it and try and improve it. And then I think that will improve your overall development, really.
Yeah, moving into 2020, plans to travel to any training camps or tournaments at the moment? I know we've just gone into full lockdown, but I know there's a couple of British players that are hoping to go to Germany for a training camp. Have you got any upcoming plans for tennis?
Well, right now I'm training at the National Tennis Centre in Roehampton. I think I think it's maybe the only place that is open, the indoor tennis facility. So, pretty lucky to have that right now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'll probably be staying in England until we can kind of get to another country that will let us in. So.
Yeah, the whole British competitive schedule was wiped out in 2020. If them tournaments had gone ahead in 2021, would you be looking to get involved in those?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. As soon as they come out, like the calendar and all that, I'll be definitely putting in for them.
How's your grass court game? Do you enjoy playing in the grass?
I love grass, actually. It's my favourite surface, to be honest.
And just finally, I had a couple of questions sent in from junior players, if you wouldn't mind answering those as well.
Yeah, of course.
So the first one being, how did you cope with your on-court nerves as a junior tennis player?
I'd say I definitely got nervous when I was younger. I mean, everyone still does, but it's how you deal with them. I think the more you're in a situation, where you get nervous, it helps if you do it more and more. So you kind of get used to it. I think, yeah, literally just putting yourself in that same situation. Sometimes it can be in practice. Like, obviously, when you're practicing, sometimes players will just be super relaxed and then in a match it's completely different. But I think something that helped me was in practice, I'd maybe pretend that it was a match scenario. in my head, I'd try and make it as close as possible to a match, so that you put some pressure on yourself and things like that, and that kind of helped me quite a lot.
Yeah, second one, what was the biggest benefit you got from playing college tennis in the USA?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think playing in college, well, the nerves, that's a huge one as well. The college environment playing is so different. It's almost like another sport. You have loads of fans and everyone's super loud and everyone gets so pumped after like each point. So it helped me a ton. Just in there's so many high pressure points in the matches, and you get so used to that, and it just improves your game.
Yeah, there's lots of junior players watch these interviews that are sort of thinking about turning pro. Is the US college tennis route a route you would recommend to anybody?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely players have different routes on what they want to do. For me personally, it was one big one was, my game wasn't so developed, and physically I wasn't as developed as, some players at 18. So I'd recommend, if any players, aren't physically developed that much, then college is a great route.
Yeah, this final question made me laugh. Was someone sent in, said, I'm struggling with my overhead volley. Any tips? And I'm going to jump in here and say, after seeing Ryan's overhead against Cam Norrie at the event, you might want to look elsewhere. But what would your advice be to someone struggling with the overhead volley?
Yeah, you probably don't want to watch that one to take any notes from. But yeah, no, just practicing it for sure. And again, like, if you can do it in match scenario where there's some pressure on you, then it's going to improve, and for sure.
Yeah, so I think we'll finish on you talking about your favourite shot. Thanks a lot for joining me on the channel again, Ryan. It's much appreciated. Best of luck for 2021. Do you have a final message for the people listening?
Hope everyone stays safe. If you're a tennis player, keep working hard, and I hope everyone is healthy as well.